Now I'm joined by Yelena Kharitonova, a linguist who's been studying camp jargon, so-called camp jargon. So there was a special language that these people communicated in. Yelena, tell me, what kind of a language are we talking about?
Yes, people mainly use such terms as camp jargon or camp slang, but I suppose it's better to speak of camp language because taking into account a great number of people who used it. So, but of course it was different from normal language, as just try to imagine all those people from completely different social strata. So camp language, it was like a kind of a melting pot which contained words from thieves' camp official terms and of course prisoner camp slang and even curse words. So that's what I understand about the camp language.
Can you give us some specific examples of those words and what did it consist of?
Yes, of course. In the Gulag world, there was one particular type of prison officer, and in Russian he was called kum, and in English it could be translated like father confessor or godfather. So I think that it was a good variant of translation because it could give slightest hints of meanings, but of course there were different other examples which could hardly be rendered in English because they were very specifically Russian.
Yelena, thank you very much. Well, that's it from me this hour. With more from Magadan region, I'll join you shortly.
Yes, such a sad past there. RT's correspondent Gana Chichikan reporting live from Magadan all day today. We'll be coming back to you later, Gani. More news this morning. The struggle for cash is taking a sinister turn in Italy, it seems. Hundreds of desperate people are prepared to sell their own organs to raise money for their families. Katerina Zareva investigates now how the... It's an area rich in mineral wealth, but one that's also notorious for its sad and cruel past. It covers an expanse that's almost twice the size of Portugal. Let's get some facts and figures here. But the sparsely populated region is home to just 100,000 people who endure its harsh climate much of the year. Its main city is also called Magadan. It's a port on the Sea of Okhotsk, which served as a major transit centre for prisoners sent to Stalin's labour camps, part of its dark past. Well, our correspondent Gani Chichikan joins us now from Magadan. Good day to you, Gani. Talking there of the tragedies of the region's past that are still, to this day, very difficult to get away from, aren't they?
Well, Kevin, the region has a very sad history indeed. Lots of places here bear reminders of the Gulag times, including the monument that's behind me. It's called the Mask of Sorrow. It was built in honor of the victims of the Stalin labor camps here, and you can see tears coming down its cheek, and those tears are made of the faces of the victims of the labor camps here. This place is very much honored among local residents. They come here, they pay tribute to those victims, they lay flowers, and you have to keep in mind that the history of the region started in the cold barracks of the Gulag labor camps. When gold was discovered here at the end of the 1920s, the Soviet Union set up a network of labor camps, bringing in millions of prisoners and exiles, among them real criminals and also Nazi collaborators who were sent here after the World War II, and also lots of innocent people who were accused of state treason. And under Stalin rule, it was quite easy to get accused of state treason and sent to these places. We've met some of the Gulag survivors, and also we've been to those labor camps. Dreadful scene there. Well, you can see it yourself. Long deserted labor camps here in Russia's Far East still bear reminders of the region's painful past. This was Russia's El Dorado, full of gold, silver, tin and other resources. And for more than 20 years it developed as a vast network of labor camps which exploited over 2 million prisoners and exiles. Antonina Novosed was arrested and sent to Magadan from Ukraine in 1947.
I was convicted of state treason, a 20-year-old girl. I wasn't guilty of anything, of course. But at that time, if they wanted to arrest you, they would always find a reason. There was no court hearing or anything. Just 3 people sat there and made the decision. A word, a wrong song, anything could get you sent to these places.
Antonina spent 9 years working in the tin mines.
This photo was taken at our labour camp, and this one too. You know, we worked in harsh conditions, but at least no one touched us or beat us or anything. We worked as much as we could just for a piece of bread. There was nowhere to run. We were surrounded by mountains.
More than 100,000 people died in these mountains of hunger and cold. In some places, the temperatures in winter dropped to minus 50 degrees Celsius. It was thought a healthy man could survive no more than 3 winters in those conditions. Ships filled with prisoners docked in this bay in Magadan. It's here the prisoners' ordeal began, which 1 in 7 never survived. The human price paid for getting hold of the riches of the region was enormous.
I would never justify the methods used by the GULAG system, but it was partly the gold mine that here helped us win the Second World War and pay for the goods and weapons that we bought from the US under the Lend-Lease program.
Prisoners serving their sentences between 1937 and 1938 faced the bloodiest period in the history of the Kolyma labor camps. Orders came from Moscow with certain numbers of people to be killed as public enemies, with no specific charges brought against them. Thousands of people were brought here at the end of the 1930s to be shot and thrown down this hill. This mass grave was found when people started prospecting for gold, and rather than giving up its riches, the ground gave up its deadly secrets. Getting to the long-forgotten camps is not easy. For years now, Vladimir Naiman, a gold miner himself, has been traveling through the region to pay tribute to the Gulag victims, setting crosses at their burial sites. His father was exiled to Magadan shortly after World War II. He was German, born in the Soviet Union. Even though Vladimir's father did not serve in a camp, he says it's his duty to come and pay his respects.
Camp prisoners used to say when we die here we wouldn't even get a cross or even a plaque on our graves. They deserve these crosses even decades later. I just wanted to remind people about the human cost it took to develop the region.
Many of the prisoners released at the end of the 1950s, when all labor camps were shut down, stayed in Magadan. They raised their families here, who will never forget that the history of this remote Russian region started in the barracks. Now I'm joined by Father David from the local Catholic Church. Father David, I know that there is a chapel at your church which is in honor of the victims, of the Gulag victims. There's this question that I wanted to ask you. You know, those labor camps that we've been to are really hard to get to, but people still go there. People want to see it. So the interest is there. Can we talk about repentance?
Repentance, of course, is a very long and difficult road to travel. And yet, at the same time, it's understandable that people don't want to admit that, you know, that something bad has happened here, and that maybe even they had been part of it or had cooperated with it. And so repentance is very slow to come, to admit, and then to take the steps to correct it and to do something positive in place of it.
Father David, I know that you've met some of the Gulag victims and you talked to them. What do they say?
We, of course, have made a very intensive effort to help them to rehabilitate. At the beginning, they were very hesitant to even talk about their lives and what happened to them. "You're not KGB," they asked us at the beginning. And then slowly, by meeting with them, by providing entertainment and a lunch and allowing them to talk about it, slowly they not only are able to talk about it, but they want to talk about it. And they are willing to give interviews and tell their stories and even have them published in a book we've put together so that people remember what happened here. They don't want people to forget. They don't want their children to forget what happened here in this place.
Father David, you know, some people compare the Nazi concentration camps to Gulag labor camps. Do you think this comparison is correct?
While there wasn't often just a direct intention to kill people, these were very harsh and severe places, especially this far north in this cold, isolated place. And so, in all intensive purposes, the same number of people died here as far as we can tell. And so they were very much in terrible, terrible places. Terrible
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Father David.
You're welcome.
People here really have gone through tough times. Well, that's it from me this hour. For more from Magadan region, I'll join you shortly.
It really moves you, doesn't it, to see that sad time from the past, from 60 years ago. Thanks for reporting for us this hour. You're with RT this Thursday. Don't forget all our top